So good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live stream, helping people to face their anxieties by talking about them, by getting help and support, and by facing them, taking action. Also, by creating a daily routine, which consists of really simple and quite obvious positive habits like going to the gym regularly, spending time with family and friends, eating a healthier diet, taking care of your responsibilities, cleaning, working on your career or your business, or if you're unemployed looking for a job, traveling, mindfulness, um, personal, your own personal prayer if that really helps, and much more. So let's get into this. I really appreciate all the support on all the other live streams. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Jonathan. I mentor people. I help people to build confidence, manage anxiety, overcome, also help them to build discipline, and so many other things around that. And if you know my story, I also suffer with anxiety myself. I've suffered with anxiety pretty much all my life since I was a young kid, all the way up until now, until an adult, 40 years young. But the thing that I can give a lot of people hope with my journey with battling with anxiety, mental health, confidence issues, negative thoughts, and intrusive thoughts is I have overcome anxiety at several stages of my life. And what I mean by overcome is I actually overcame it and built a lot of confidence up and changed my life. And if some of you know my story, obviously, well, not obvious to some, but throughout my life, I've also had a breakdown, so I've gotten over anxiety. My life has been great. My mental health has been good. My life's been very good, externally and internally. But then things have my anxiety's come back again. Something's happened in my life. Most of the things have been out of my control, and then I've had to overcome it again. So my story might be a little bit different to other people's story, which is great. Where some people who have suffered with anxiety for many years, which has been great, they've gotten therapy or they've worked hard and they've found a way to overcome it, and they've never looked back, which is great. That's a beautiful thing. But for me, that hasn't been the case. It's been kind of like a lifelong battle of overcoming it and feeling great and just being so grateful and sort of thinking that it's never going to come back, and then even a couple of years later it has come back. So at the moment I'm going through a challenging time, as some of you know, dealing with grief, dealing with the passing of a friend to suicide. So that has affected me, obviously, as it would. I'm also dealing with intrusive thoughts, daily anxiety, but at the same time I'm not giving up. I'm still running my business. I'm still mentoring my clients. They're making a lot of progress. I get up every morning. I go to the gym. I spend time with family. And I think that's the kind of message that I'm teaching today. And I know it's difficult for people, and it's also difficult for me. People believe sometimes that if they're going through a bad time, that means that they can't continue living their life, which they can. They can't feel good about themselves, which they can. And a lot of this obviously comes down to society, the pressure that society puts on people. And it's also, I guess we're society, we put pressure on ourselves because we care too much what people think. So what a lot of people do, I've done this as well at times. So I'm going to make a point of saying that I'm not judging anyone, and this is a big part of this live stream that you can join. So what a lot of us do, we don't be honest with people when we're going through a bad time because we worry about what they're going to think. So we don't tell our family and friends. We might not tell our colleagues. We may not even tell our clients because we feel like it's wrong. It's wrong to say at the moment I'm going through a bad time. But from my point of view, as I've got a bit more experience in life, on both sides of the spectrum, being a teacher, I've been mentoring now for 12 years, been a passion of mine. So I've worked with so many different interesting people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, and all different people from all around the world. And if there's anything that I've learned throughout the years of teaching, it's whatever you're going through, anxiety, stress, problem, you've got to be honest about it if you want to get better. You've got to talk, you've got to overcome that fear of worrying about what other people will think. Because for as long as you worry about what other people will think, you're feeding the problem, you're making it worse by keeping it a secret. And the pressure that you put on yourself, especially if a lot of people are pretending that they're happy when they're not, it's not good for your body, it's not good for your mental health. Because think about it, right? And this isn't putting yourself down. You can't lie to your own body, your own feelings. It will go against you in the sense that if you're having a bad day today, for example, and you're really down, you're frightened, you're lonely, you're stressed out. If you meet someone or a family member or a friend, or you're in a coffee shop and someone says like, "How are you doing?" If you say, "I'm doing amazing," like I'm such a happy person, it's a lie. It's not true. Now I understand when people say that because they're trying to be positive, and I totally get that. And there might be a little bit of truth in that. That sometimes it is good to say, "I'm not going to think negative." Like I'm not going to keep telling myself that I'm depressed or I'm down, and I get that. But there is a balance. If you're going for a major problem, positivity is not always going to work. It's just not going to be the right. It's going to be the wrong thing at the wrong time. So for me, what I've learned through experience and going through my own suffering, anxiety, stresses, and going through good times of it, making progresses, you've got to be honest, and that's how you get better quicker. So saying that you're, for example, I'm not particularly happy at the moment. I'm going through a difficult time myself, and a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, but every single day I have spaces of happiness and gratitude because of the practices that I practice and what I'm trying to teach others today. And most of what I do is daily discipline. I get up early regardless of how I feel. I had a great day yesterday. I had a really happy day yesterday. And then meeting friends, going to the gym. So it's living a positive lifestyle. So it's kind of a bit of a contradiction. So if you're not happy and you're going for anxiety, low mood, all the things that come with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, mood swings, sensitivity, overthinking too much. When you're going through all that, if you continue taking action and facing your fears, you actually gain more confidence. You gain even more strength because you're able to do things when you don't feel good, when you don't feel confident, when you are going through a lot of pain, and there's so much strength that you gain from doing that. Now, of course, obviously, best case scenario, all of us want to be happy if we can. Anxiety is a horrible thing. I wish I could take it away from everyone. So of course we don't want to be unhappy. Of course we don't want to have intrusive thoughts. Of course we don't want to have low mood and be worrying. No one really wants that. We'd rather get into a good place, which is something that I don't put pressure on myself, my clients, but most of my clients, pretty much all of them, if they follow through with the teachings, they will get to a good place. So you're eventually going to get to a good place. You're not going to be unhappy forever unless you cause that for yourself, and you're not going to have anxiety forever. You're not going to have intrusive thoughts forever, or bad emotions, or low mood. But whilst you're going through it, you've got to be honest, because not being honest makes anxiety worse. Because then you're not fixing the problem, and that communication that you're having with yourself is important. That's how you get really well. And emotions are fleeting. They're so fleeting. You can wake up with anxiety. You'll know this by your own life experiences, and you can feel awful. You can feel absolutely terrible. And when you're feeling like that, you do not believe that you can ever feel good again. An hour later, you could have a conversation with someone who's a nice person, can totally change your mood, and then you can be feeling happy. So that's what I mean about understanding the value of being able to be disciplined, regardless, obviously within reasonable merit, right? Because obviously sometimes we go for such a bad time, people need to get help, they can't do things on their own, that's totally acceptable and fine. But generally, the rule of thumb is to be able to move forward regardless of how you feel. And that builds so much mental resilience and strength and things that you're going to really benefit from, tools that you're going to learn later on in life. But now you're going to be growing even more. So this is kind of breaking down one of the beliefs of anxiety. And a big belief of anxiety is that I can't do things when I'm not feeling good. It's a lie, I'm telling you. Everybody can. And this is something that I did this myself for many years until I started to break this pattern and break this belief. I would always say, I can't meet friends now because I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling ashamed. I can't go to the gym, I'm feeling overwhelmed with guilt, shame, embarrassment, or I'm stressed, I'm scared, I've got a lot of negative intrusive thoughts, so can't go to the gym. And when you tell yourself that and you don't go gym, your anxiety prolongs. You prolong recovery. You lose confidence, and you make yourself believe that you can't get out of being stuck when you can. You can do it. People are a lot stronger than they think. So moving forward, regardless of how you feel, is eventually going to get you where you want to get to. You're going to get to more of a permanent place where you can overcome anxiety. As I've said, I've done it several times in my life. I've helped many people to do it over the years, and I've also watched and learned other people. I've seen other people's stories online, and I know they're telling the truth. I can see how well they are, how confident they are. And they've shown, maybe pictures of when they were struggling or videos when they were down and depressed. And you can see that the change that they've made. So there's hope for everyone. But it's something that you've got to work at daily, and you've got to be patient. All these things, changing your life, breaking addictions, getting over anxiety, intrusive thoughts, depression, these things generally don't happen overnight, but you can make a lot of progress each and every day, even from on an hourly basis. So you build confidence when you face your fears, and pretty much facing your fears means facing your fears, your responsibilities, your goals, things that you enjoy when you are feeling fearful, because these are all symptoms of fear, anxiety. Intrusive thoughts is fear. When you've got a really low mood, it is fear and stress. It's all fear in all of its different ways and disguises. So it's good to understand how fear works, how anxiety works, a bit more about how your mind works, and then start to learn how you can overcome these fears and anxieties or live beside them. And sometimes people don't believe that because they're basing their belief on their feelings, and feelings can be misleading. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true. So if you feel that you could never be confident, that doesn't mean it's actually not true. So a lot of this is having a little bit more emotional strength, and it can be hard sometimes because obviously feelings are a beautiful thing, and when you're young and you grow up, you base a lot of your experiences and life on feelings. We love our family, we love people, friends, so that's important. But a lot of the times, the negative feelings are not useful to believe. They are experiences. It is part of being human. None of us really like it, but it's learning to build tolerance to negative feelings, and it's not judging it and going, that is part of being human, especially when you're going through a bad time. You can have more intrusive thoughts, more negative thoughts, because you're going through a difficult time. But a difficult time doesn't last forever. It's for a certain amount of time. But whilst you're going through a difficult time, you can make the most of life. And that's why I'm explaining and trying to teach and explain confidence, gratitude, discipline. And I know some of this is going to challenge people, because some people would say, well, how can you build confidence when you don't feel confident and you feel dreadful? Well, I'm telling you that you can, because I'm doing it, and anyone can, and I've done it, other people are doing it. And it's not trying to understand this with logic, because logic will argue with you every time, and it will disagree with me. It will judge what I'm saying. Anxiety does that, as you know. It gets logical, it judges you, it judges others. It's an automatic thing. It's not us doing it, it's our mind doing it. So you can't feed that, because anxiety will tell you negative things about yourself. Oh, you can't do that. You've got to be perfect before you do that. Oh, you can't go to the gym. You're not good enough. Everybody's going to judge you. It tells a lot of lies. or you know, oh, you can't get a relationship because you're not good enough, you don't have this, you don't have that. All these things are lies. But if you believe these lies and you give in to them, they start to feel true, and then they hold you back. So it's really, really good to understand how your anxiety works, how all these things works, and then you can develop a strategy to break out of them every single day. And sometimes it's an actual relief for everybody deep down. Everybody wants to do that. They want to say how they feel. Nobody wants to say, oh, I feel great, when they don't. And of course, when you feel good, it feels great. It feels good. So I'm actually really happy in my life. You know, I'm actually at peace in my life. That's a beautiful thing. But you can't say that if that's not where you're at right now. So it's not judging where you're at, but it's being honest about where you're at. It's accepting where you're at for now, not forever, and it's moving forward. And that's, you know, I've done a lot of studying on stronger people or mental toughness, and this is what it entails. You know, mental toughness is not based on doing things that are easy. And mental toughness and strength and discipline and a lot of these things, it's not about doing things when you feel good. No, it's about doing things when you don't feel strong, when you don't want to do it. You know, today I've got things and I don't want to do them. I don't feel like it. See, that's my feelings. And mentally, I think, I don't know if I can mentally cope, but I know I will do it because of practicing discipline every day. So you can do more. You know, sometimes people, there's many positive things about going through a difficult time. It's not all negative. Usually some of the positive things are we start to appreciate things more, because we automatically start to reflect on how things were when we didn't have the issue that we're dealing with right now, the anxiety or the depression. We remember and say, oh, my life is amazing. Oh, I wish I had that now. I'd be more grateful because what I'm dealing with now, I'm going through hell and back. So that can be a good thing. And it can also make people, obviously it affects everybody in different ways, but it can make you work harder and achieve goals that you wouldn't have achieved if you weren't going through a challenge, because you wouldn't be motivated. You wouldn't have that drive. You wouldn't sort of be like feeling well, in some ways, it could feel like life and death. And for some people it can. It's felt like that for me, dealing with these things, as we know. You know, suicidal thoughts is something that I have to mention, because it comes with dealing with anxiety if you're dealing with it too long in depression. So it's getting help if you need it. It's not being on your own, and it's getting out of that space and getting yourself back into a positive place. So we're not saying to be negative. I'm not saying to be a victim, but I'm saying to not give up on yourself and life because you're going through a difficult time. And whilst you're going through a difficult time, you know, getting things done every day. And every single day, you can get into a better space. So it's not like, if you think, or from my experience, if you're going through depression, anxiety, I know there's periods where it can feel like, and it can be, it's like 24 hours a day, every single day. I've been through that. But generally, it's not going to be like every hour, every day that you're going to be unhappy. You're going to get some space naturally where you're going to get some relief. And you can even increase that based on your habits, where you're going to feel good. It might be short, but it's still there. So if you can get into a short space of feeling good, then you know you can get to a longer space. So it's all discipline. And it really is breaking that belief that I'm not allowed to admit that I'm struggling. You are allowed to admit that. That's conditions that you put on yourself. And I've always found, this has been interesting, when I've been worried myself about what people are going to think about me if they know that I'm going through a difficult time. You know, whether it's my clients or my family or my friends or people that I've never met before, you know, just larger society, what will they think about me if they know that I'm struggling with anxiety, depression, intrusive thoughts, I'm feeling low, I'm not as confident as I usually am, I'm battling with mental health, what are they going to think about me? When I've stayed on that, it's made me feel terrible. And it's not allowed me to enjoy my life and to feel free and to get out of that place ASAP, or to accept it and still be grateful and say, okay, I'm feeling down, but I'm not going to let it ruin my whole day. I'm going to get things done. and enjoy connection with friends. Whenever I've done that, things have always worked out. And you know, like when you're in your own mind plays tricks on you. It always makes people worse than they actually are. It always threatens you that people's judgments is going to be so harsh it's going to kill you. But generally, what always happens is people are lovely. In my experience, if you're sincere, and there's a few reasons why, because I believe that most people have got good in them, and people have got a natural empathy when someone is generally going through a struggle in time and they're honest about it and they're straight about it and they're trying. People have compassion towards that. Number two, often other people are going through struggles as well. It may not be as bad as my struggle or yours, so they can relate. It makes them feel better. It makes them feel like they're not being judged, they're not on their own, and it sometimes motivates the other person to say, I now understand what you're going through. Actually, I'm going through something, I haven't shared it. And then people feel that they're not on their own and we get stronger, which is a beautiful thing. Or sometimes people are in a great place and they're able to help you. It's always like that. Someone has got a family member that's gone through mental health or depression, so they have empathy. They might not be going through that, but they have empathy towards you or me or my clients because they've had someone that they love in their family deal with it. So we've got to get out of that negative. It's back to being honest again. And that the anxiety tricks you, it's not feeding it. So the anxiety says, don't tell anybody, because if people know, then, all the sorts of fears and threats that it does, people will reject you, or what's the biggest fear? Yeah, you won't be loved. That's probably the biggest threat of anxiety. It threatens with, people won't love you, and then you'll be terrified. You can't go on that, because that isn't love, that's punishment. And if you go on that, then you're absent of love anyway. You're not loving yourself, and you're not letting. And it's not true. That isn't true. That never happens. Never happens. Never happens in that way. So it's understanding the beliefs that are driving most of the anxieties and most of the beliefs around what I've just said now. People won't like me. They won't accept me if they know that I'm struggling with some confidence issues or all those things, shame, guilt, or I'm not feeling great about, or I'm not having very kind thoughts, which is not me as a part. We're not our thoughts, but you can't stop your own mind from having bad thoughts, intrusive thoughts. That's part of an anxiety disorder. So if people know that I have bad thoughts, they wouldn't like me as a person. Well, to answer that question is, that's impossible because everybody has bad thoughts. Even people that don't have anxiety or OCD, but everyone deals with it in different ways. So you start to break down the lies of this belief that is facilitating a lot of the fears and the anxieties that people deal with. And that's how you get better. You get more confident. You in a healthy way, you'll become less caring in a good way about what people think, because you're able to say it and deal with the consequences. A lot of it is about our own emotions, our own triggers. So if I say what I'm really going through, I'm afraid of how it will make me feel. So this is a great way of getting a lot stronger. And as I said, eventually this puts you into an even better place than you've ever been, because you're able to fight through these challenges. And as all of us know, we know that. We all know that as human beings, at whatever age we are, it takes a lot of strength and courage to be honest about your struggles. It's a lot easier for everybody. It's easier for me. It'll be easier for me if I talk about all my strengths and all the things in my life that I'm proud of, that I've done well, and all the good bits about me. That's easy because it's positive. You're protected there, but it's not as easy to say, these are my struggles in my life. Whether it's your addictions or your anxiety or your lack of belief. That's not as easy to do that until that becomes easier, until you practice it. But naturally, for most people, it's not easy. I knew that from when I was a young kid at school, getting bullied. I couldn't always do it. It wasn't easy to report the bullying. I was scared and ashamed, and it wasn't always easy to say, I don't have much confidence right now, and I'm embarrassed about it, and I'm ashamed about it, and I feel terrible about it. I'm worried about what everyone's going to think about me. I didn't have the strength to say that, but a little bit more time, getting a bit more older and suffering a bit more. I can't do this anymore. Can't do it no more. Got to face these anxieties. So I've got to start off by telling the truth about how I feel, and how I feel is not great, and I don't have much confidence in myself, and I'm not feeling good about myself. But I want to move forward. I want to overcome this. I don't want to be here forever. I don't want to be a victim, and I want to build my confidence up and get myself into a good place in my life, and have a better relationship, and and feel good about myself. So that communication is really, really helpful in the right context for everyone. And obviously it's a choice. You've got to make a choice, because I understand it might not be right for everybody to be as open, but I choose to be this way because it's my personality, and this will help a lot of people. And as I said, then it's accepting anxiety. If you don't accept anxiety, it gets worse. If you don't accept negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and you're fighting, it gets worse. It feeds it. So it is the discipline of saying, look, I don't like feeling down. Accept it. If you fully accept it, it literally starts going away. So there's a lot of these practices that I'm still learning through my life experience, and I'm in therapy at the moment myself. How does the present self in the moment deal with the past anxiety and haunting images of your suffering? These things hold you in the anxiety. What's an end? Well, that comes back to what I've been saying pretty much for the last 20 minutes or so. It's accepting your anxiety, and as you said, is it disturbing, haunting images of your suffering? It's accepting all that stuff, that when that comes up, you don't have control of that coming up, but you do have control of how you respond to it. So even though it's not nice, just leaving it, not analysing it, not judging it, not trying to change it, because all that makes it worse. I know it's not easy, and just continuing to focus on positive things, moving forward. So most of it is acceptance, accepting it, and it will eventually fade away and go away. The more it's like anything. I heard someone say a good thing. Think about something that maybe used to bother you 20 years ago. Could be anything. And think about how it doesn't bother you no more. And if you think about it now, you'll just be like, that doesn't even bother me. I can't believe that used to bother me 20 years ago. Well, that's because you was going through a difficult time, and you had a different relationship with it. And now you've got a different response. So it's a bit like when people go through a breakup. Obviously, breakups are difficult. Everyone deals with them differently. But generally, there's going to be some breakups that it doesn't even bother you no more. If we think about it, we don't have any emotional reaction. It doesn't give us anxiety or stress or shame or anger or hurt, because you've gotten over it. But that takes time, and it takes acceptance. And at the start of most breakups, everybody, including me, we can't accept it because we're hurt. And that keeps it going, doesn't it? Until we accept that the breakup, it's over, then we move on, we build confidence, and eventually, if it's right, we meet someone else. We get married or partner, or we get over it. So that's the same with anxiety. It's accepting that there's going to be a period where you're not going to be able to get rid of it by trying to force it away. So you have to do the things I'm saying and take the necessary steps each and every day, and then start making progress. And I do understand it, believe me, because I think I understand this really well because of, as I said, teaching, coaching so many people over the years that have got anxiety, and seeing the patterns that my clients have had, and seeing my own patterns. I understand it more. So I know that from experience. I'll get it all the time on this channel, and it's not judging, it's helping, because it is hard, I understand. But people will say, they'll follow my stuff or listen to advice that I give, or other people, and say, yeah, I need to start going to the gym. And then I'll say, why don't you start today or tomorrow? Oh, but I'm not going to go to the gym yet. I need to sort some things out, or I need to fix my depression first. And it's like, no, that's the wrong approach, probably. I mean, it could be right, but from my experience, because what you're saying to yourself is that you can't go to the gym until you're perfect. You can't go to the gym until you've got no anxiety, no emotions. The whole point of going to the gym a big part of going to the gym is to make you feel better. So you go to the gym not feeling great. If you're dealing with this, obviously you work out and think, I feel better now. Of course you do, because you faced your fears. You gain confidence when you face your fears. And facing your fears on two different levels is, in no order. Number one, psychologically, is accepting the fear, accepting how it plays out. It plays out with anxiety, with intrusive thoughts, with bad memories, bad feelings, bad images, intrusion, all that stuff. Accepting it. It's not nice, but it's not you. It's your fears. It's human fears. That's the first level, accepting it and not letting it bully you by not arguing with it, not saying you've got to get away, or why am I having these thoughts, or I shouldn't have this, or I'm not, everyone else is normal, I'm not. Now don't do all that, just go, I meant it's part of life, part of anxiety is going to go eventually. And the second one is taking action. It's actually taking action, not just on your fears, but the things that you want to do. But usually the things that we want to do can become our fears. So how many of you would say, many people would say, I want to start my own business. I don't enjoy my job anymore, or I've always wanted to go into a specific business, coffee shop business, property, the coaching industry, therapy, marketing, sales, real estate, the business of boxing, whatever the case may be. People want to start a business, but then they don't do it. They don't take the action because of the fear of facing fear, because of the fear of confronting the anxieties in your body, in your mind, and then the fears of failing, the fears of what people think, the fears of uncertainty. But facing the fear is how you gain confidence and how it works out. But if you say, well, I'm not going to face fear yet until I'm got so much courage, then you're going to keep yourself in that cycle pattern. And I've said this before, I've learned this throughout facing fears in many areas of my life. One of which is public speaking. When I used to say, I'm going to do public speaking, but not now, because at the moment I'm not feeling ready yet. That's fear speaking, that's anxiety. Or not right now, I need to make some more money, then I'll do it. That's fear speaking. Until I realized that I was never going to feel good until I did it. I had to face my fear. And my fear was the fear of going up in front of a large group of people and speaking when I was frightened. The fear of what are they going to think about me? How are they going to react? How am I going to feel? What was going to happen to me? Uncertainty, the unknown. How will it affect me as a person? How will people view me? What are they going to say about me when I'm not around? When they go back, all those fears. Can I do the talk? What if I start stuttering and I really embarrass myself like I did when I was younger at school? All those things. Or what if I can't think of things to say? And all those fears. What if people think I'm not interesting, I'm boring, and I'm not a good person? All those anxieties. And one day I said, I can't do this no more. I've had enough of this. I'm going to face it. I don't care what happens. I have to do it now. I went and did it. It went really well. And even when it didn't go well, it still went well. Because I faced it. I felt better for facing it. I got stronger. And then the next talk, I got a little bit more stronger. The next one, more confident. And I just got better and better and better. Because I applied the principle that I'm stressing today and teaching today, which is moving forward regardless of how you feel, whether it's in short moments or long moments. So if you're really depressed, really try and move forward. And anyone, doctors, anybody that's got good credentials will give this advice. And it's compassion as well, believe me. So we're saying that it's not easy for people depending on where they're at. It's easier for some people that they've been in the habit of doing this for a long time, maybe like me. I'm still going through a difficult time, but let's just say for argument's time, it's not a competition between anyone. It might be a bit easier for me because I've been in the habit of doing this for many years. And the difficult time that I've been going through now, which has been about a year or so, since my friend passed away, and a lot of triggers have come, and other things that I've dealt with, some health anxiety that I've gotten over. So I've been doing discipline every day. So obviously I've gotten a little bit more used to it, even though it's not easy for me. So someone that is at the moment now, hasn't done anything at the moment, God bless them, and they're going through a lot of anxiety, stress, intrusion, all those things, and they're in their house all the time. it's really difficult for them. I understand that. So for them, it would be just taking small steps and not comparing. Again, it's not judging yourself, it's not judging me. But obviously, an example, you can't stop your mind from judging people in that way. That's not you. But you can obviously stop yourself from actually acting on thoughts and judging people. That wouldn't be good for you and others, right? So when we get down to it, it's pretty simple. You wake up in the morning, and however you're feeling, you try and get up early, do something, clean the apartment, go for a walk, take action basically. The more action you take, the better you're going to feel in the long run. And eventually, when you do overcome your anxiety episode and you get into a good place in life, you're gonna appreciate it so much more, because you know what it's like to struggle. And that's one of the things that I can say to people that, if people want to get me to share things that I've learned, is I appreciate things more because I've struggled, I've suffered in my life. I've not suffered all the time, of course. I've also had a great life, I couldn't deny that. But I've had a lot of suffering. I've been through a lot of pain, and I'm going through some suffering again. But what I've learned from it is the things that I'm sharing today. The power of community, friends, all the simple things. All the things that we're talking about today. Just a second, I'm just going to get my breath and get a short water break. Any questions, go for it, I'll answer them. So, I like to reference David Goggins. Well, I like Goggins a lot anyway, but I'll tell you why. And I know there's a lot of other people, but David Goggins really explains this probably a lot better than I do. And David Goggins explains the value of basically the value of living life, moving forward every day, giving the best effort you can possibly give in everything that you do, not just with running, but everything in life, from the most simplest thing to the most complicated thing that you've got in your daily life. The ability to be able to move forward, not give up when you're feeling awful, or when you're feeling stressed, or when you're feeling great. So an example, to simplify it, that David Goggins would say, that I relate to and I practice to, and it's universal. So, no one has to copyright it, but we can give credit to everyone who's got their own signature and personality. But David Goggins would say, when you wake up and you feel awful and you don't want to go for a run, go and do it throughout the whole run. And that is going to give you mental toughness, mental strength, discipline, accountability, more humility towards other people, all the good things, all the things that we want that make us a better person. That's it, that's what I'm stressing. The ability to act and do things when you're feeling not good. And I would also say when you're feeling good as well, because sometimes people can use that as a bit of a crutch and say, well, I feel really happy now, I'm really good today, so I'm not going to continue with my discipline, I'm not going to go to the gym. That can also be a trap. So just to remind people, we're not saying to purposely make yourself unhappy. That would be absurd. And we're not saying to beat yourself down. And we're not saying to go and tell everybody how negative you're feeling. No, that's not the point. And it's not what I'm stressing. We're saying if you're going for a difficult time, and it's good to be honest about it and move forward despite how you're feeling. And that's how you're going to get stronger. So I need a bit of energy here. So you're saying I think my true inner self is totally different person to my anxiety. That's absolutely true. That's very true. Anxiety is not your identity or any of our identities. And a guy said that online, and a lady that I follow, teachers like myself, and that really made me realize they're really true. And that is true. And that goes with we're not our thoughts. Our thoughts are not our identity, which is anxiety. It's our brain. It's a protective mechanism that's designed to keep us alive, but it overprotects. And it's obviously some of our bad experiences that we perceive when we're younger, those things, but they're not our identity. Right. Two are so different. I don't recognize each other. Yeah. That's totally it. That's very, very normal. Everyone goes through that when you get feeling of carrying a burden, definitely. Just a second. Sorry, this energy. These talks are great. They take a lot out of me, especially on days where I'm going through challenges as well. Yeah. A lot of this, if not all of it, as you said, it's not logical, it's not rational. And we sometimes try to solve problems with rationale, which don't work in this area. You know, logic works, has a great place, but not here. Logic never works with anxiety, never. You know, logically, your mind could say all sorts of things that don't, that it may even make sense, but it's not true in reality. So logic might say, well, I can't get out of bed today because I've got anxiety, and if I get out of bed, then something bad would happen, right? We've all had that. Or if I get out of bed, it's going to give me bad luck. It's going to use superstition. It's going to play on that. Might play on your all sorts of things. Plays on everything, on our things that are personal, our own faith that we hold dearly, our family. It plays on anything to create problems and get us to believe it and feed it and be bullied by it. So I can't get out of bed today. I can't do the washing up. I can't water the plants. I can't pay rent. So there's a lot of can't. I can't, and then you go, I believe it. I can't do it, and then you buy it. You don't do it. But if you actually physically got up, you might feel terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's not a nice feeling, but you could do it. You could wash up. You could water the plants. You could take your dog out for a walk or feed your cat. You could do it. And when you did it, you'd go, that was all a lie. Just because it said that didn't make it true. And just because I had emotions that corresponded with those thoughts, which felt true, guilt, panic, feelings of being burdened, trapped, shamed, lonely, all those feelings, they're all part of it. They're all normal parts of anxiety. But when you do it, you go, well, I did it. So that's what I'm saying again. It's amazing how feelings can be so misleading in regards to anxiety and what it tells you and what it tries to get you to believe about yourself. And a lot of the times it's interesting even if you get a perspective from someone that loves you, a friend or family member, and ask them, do you feel that, you know, in it? And they'll all have a different opinion. They'll be like, no, I don't see you in that way, or I don't believe that about you. I know that you can do it. And you go, oh, well, my anxiety says that you don't believe in me either, that you see me as a terrible person, or you see that I can't do something. Obviously people can be critical, but generally people, because they don't have that perspective. Someone else doesn't have your anxiety. I've had it with clients that have said to me, I can't do that. And I say, you can do it. And they say, no, you don't understand, I can't do it. I said, well, I know that you can do it. You did it last week. You did it great. You did it correctly 100%. You're listening to your anxiety. Oh, I thought that you, that's just your anxiety. Well, that's your anxiety. You think that other people are thinking negative things, or you can't do it. But let's do it now. We can do it in half an hour. And they do it. They might think that they can't make a YouTube video in their business. I'm like, you can do it. You did it before. I can't handle it. I can't take the stress. I said, let's try it. And they do it. And then they get proof that they can do it. And all these things are safety behaviors, you know, procrastination, all anxiety. We use all these words, and sometimes I have fun using these words because they're fun. Procrastination, self-sabotage, defense mechanisms, a lack of discipline. They're all these things, but it comes down to fear, anxiety, making that choice. I don't want to face it. And again, I'm sorry, I'm telling old stories. It's not because I'm getting old, even though my age is 40 years young. But I remember having this experience with boxing. I remember it's the same. It was anxiety just playing out in a different area of my life. It's the same. It just changes themes. I remember actually believing. No one knew this at the time because I didn't tell anyone. I was too ashamed and embarrassed. But I loved boxing. I wanted to box. I grew up watching all the Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Nigel Benn. I was with my dad watching boxing. And I really wanted to do it. I wanted to build confidence. I wanted to try and box, see if I was, just give it a shot, do some boxing, maybe have a fight, learn, go down and spar. But when I got down to the gym, I was petrified to do the sparring. All of it terrified me, and it would trigger all my anxiety, and I would be in panic, in fears, almost having a panic attack, and I say, I can't do it. I'm not ready yet. I'd back out. I'm not now. I'll do it next week. I kept saying that because I'll feel better next week. Next week I won't feel scared, and when I'm not scared, then I'll get in the ring. It didn't work. It didn't work like that. No one's perfect. No one's perfect, and there was no perfect time. But now, and a week later didn't change. It made it worse. I was running from my fears. I was frightened to spar, and I was scared of getting beaten up. I was scared of losing in front of everybody. I didn't feel comfortable with people watching me in the gym. I was worried about what they'd think about me. The trainers, the boxers, everyone else in the gym. I was worried that all the guys would think that I was weak. I was a weak man, and all those fears from my childhood. And I felt like everybody else is normal. They're not scared. I'm so frightened. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm human. Some of them had more experience than me. Some of them felt the same. They hid their fear better. I got to a point when I realised I can't do this no more, because every time I backed out of sparring, I went home and I felt relief to get out of the sparring, but then I felt depressed. I didn't feel good about myself, and I wasn't gaining confidence. I wasn't achieving my goal. My goal was I wanted to box. I wanted to improve. I wanted to have the confidence to get in the ring and learn how to box and defend myself. And I wanted to get confident in my life. I wanted to get a job, a girlfriend, a relationship. I wanted to earn some money. I wanted to make more friends. I wanted to be a better person. I knew that boxing could help me do that. But if I didn't face the sparring, I was going to ruin that. No one else. It was all me. And it didn't really matter about what people thought about me. It was what I thought about myself. But I was listening to the anxiety that was telling me, you're not good enough. You shouldn't be feeling like this. You should be feeling confident. You should be better than that. All that stuff, all of it is fear. And it's all, what's the right word? Looking back now, my whole relationship with my fear and my anxiety was incorrect. Where now I just say, this is normal. This is a beautiful feeling. I'm scared. Yeah, I'm worried. I am worried. I'm human. This is fear. Everybody feels it. Now I'm gonna work with it. But of course, eventually, thank God, I found the courage and I got in the ring, and I got better over time. It took a while though, and I got more confident and I felt good about myself. And then I was volunteering to go in, and I got a lot more confident. And that's when I started to learn a lot more about anxiety. And that was before a little bit before I set my business up. I started coaching other people on how to overcome anxiety and fear and how to live a better life and be confident. So I realized back then, that's a trick. Fear uses all tricks. It uses thoughts to begin with, gives you bad thoughts, and you think, these thoughts are affecting me. I can't do it. It's stressing me out. I'm going to leave it. It's a trick. Then if it can't do that, it gives you bad emotions. These emotions are terrifying. I feel sick. I feel uncomfortable. I feel ashamed. I can't do it. I'm going to get out of it. And then it uses a mood. It ruins your mood. I'd go to the gym in a good mood, getting the train down. I love going to the gym, but when I'd get into the gym, when I'd get triggered by the fear, when I'd see everyone sparring, and when the trainer would say, you've got to go in next, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm scared to death. I've got to go in 15 minutes. My legs were shaking. I had to go to the toilet. Sorry, my language. I would have diarrhea. That's how frightened I was, and feel like I was going to vomit. I'd get sick sometimes and have diarrhea. That's how frightened I was. And I'd be like, oh my God, can't do it. I'm sweating. My mood suddenly dropped. My face, I'm white as you can see. I would go even whiter, sweating, and I couldn't even speak. That's how frightened I was. My whole mood just shifted from happy, excited, positive to in absolute terror and dread. And I didn't realise that I had to move forward in that mood if I was ever going to overcome the fear of boxing and sparring, and also overcome the fear of anxiety and fear in general. So that's why I get passionate when I talk about this, because Once you start to understand fear more and anxiety, you start to understand that it's all the same. It just shows up in different places. It has different themes, but it's the same thing we're dealing with, fight or flight. Do I find the mornings are worse or late evenings seem better? For me, the mornings have always been the hardest part for me, to answer your question. But I have changed that. During the lockdown? I think it was around that time. I got myself into, or maybe the second part of lockdown, I got myself into a very good place, and I was loving the mornings, loving the whole day. And I'm getting myself better. But to answer your question, generally throughout my life, the morning time has always been more difficult for me. Just in regards to how I feel, how social I am, but I am changing that at the moment. So yeah, mornings is to answer your question. So the lessons that I've learned is that the fear is the same, but obviously the situation is different. So what I learned from the exposure to boxing and sparring, I taught, and I still do a lot of that in my teachings, because it's true, it works for everybody. So, and funny enough, like I said, I want to make a point of saying, I want to talk a little bit about I would call it, was it be a transformation? Would I use that word? I guess I would. I guess I would call it a transformation. So I just want to stress a point to help a lot of you in your life, any area, right? It doesn't have to be boxing, anything. So when I was boxing back in those days, I was living at my nan's, loved my nan to bits, and I would pretty much always be in a good mood most of the times, especially being around my nan. So I'd leave my nan's, leave out to go boxing, get on the Bakerloo line at Warwick Avenue. Always loved that line, and would have my kit ready, would have a couple of pounds for food and a drink, water, or whatever, my boxing gear, and I'd leave like in quite a good mood, right? So I'm in a good mood, everything's fine. But when I'd get to the gym, and as soon as the trainer would say, "You're sparring next," or when I'd see the other guys sparring, all of a sudden I get triggered of anxiety. My mood goes from a positive mood to an extremely negative, fearful mood. I'm terrified. Then once I find the courage, I get in the ring. After the bell goes, I'm scared. I warm into the sparring, the boxing, and I start to feel better. And when it's over, especially if I did quite well, when I come out of the ring, I am on euphoric emotions. I'm like the happiest. I feel like I'm the happiest person on planet Earth, right? So I've gone through different fluctuations of moods. That's all normal. And now I understand it better. I can share this with prospective people, and hopefully a lot of you can use it in your life and understand the principle of what I'm teaching today is that, you don't have to be happy and to feel perfect to get the most out of your life and day. You don't. And that's where you actually build skills and tools that everyone can build, everybody, but a lot of people may not have these tools and skills because they don't have this information. And obviously, we're not saying it's anybody's fault. It's not. It's difficult for people, but they don't know it. Same way, if you don't know something, you don't know it until someone teaches you or you learn yourself, and then you apply it. You get the benefits from it. So there's a lot of value in being able to take action when you're not feeling good. So that's what would happen to me. So I'd go through those mood shifts. I'd leave for boxing feeling good, then feeling scared and terrible, then doing the sparring, feeling great when I come out. And guess what would happen? The next week starts all over again. I'm scared again. The fear comes back again. Don't want to do it, doubting myself, worrying about it. Get in, goes well, back up again. So understanding your mood swings is important. And I think it's better to be good in any mood. So you can accept, you wake up in the morning, you go, okay, yeah, I'm not in a good mood today. Bad day today, bad feeling. It's okay, acceptance, let's still move forward. Brilliant. That is success, especially in terms of anxiety recovery and building confidence. You wake up in the morning and you're not in a good mood, you're feeling awful, terrible, but you still say, you know what, I'm going to go to work, give it my best today at work. Or I'm going to go and meet a friend, because we agreed to. I'm not going to cancel because I've woken up feeling a little bit lonely or down or insecure. That discipline, man, take you really far in life. Next day, wake up, you're in a good mood. Great, but not overdoing it. I'm in an amazing mood today. I can't believe it. I hope I'm always going to feel like this. Can be very, very dangerous, because now we're being too judgmental on how we're feeling. So we feel good today. Oh, I must feel like that tomorrow. Well, if we feel bad tomorrow, then we feel worse. So it's more in the middle, which is part of being confident too, part of discipline, part of gratitude. And I suppose pretty much all of it goes in the area of discipline. And sometimes I struggle between words. I've always had that. I think that's because that's my personality, and I like to explain it to people. And I know that words can mean different things to some people. Some of you might go, yeah, discipline is what I'm after. So that will help your confidence or gratitude or learning how to relax more when you've got anxiety and be calm. So one of the things that can be a little bit confusing to explain, but through practice you'll get results and understand it. So with anxiety and building confidence, that I think there's quite a few disciplines, but I'll break them up into two that I'm teaching today. And in no order. The first one is action. That's really important. So you're nervous, but you still take action. You go work, you go to the gym, you socialize, you do other things that you need to do, and that's how you gain a lot of confidence. Especially in the long run, right? That's really important. And they call that exposure therapy in therapy psychology, but a more simple language word is facing your fears, facing your external fears. But the second part is also acceptance, accepting your mood throughout the day, whether you've got a lot of anxiety or whether it calms down, because as you know, it can change from the second to the hour. So it's also accepting that. As I said, the great thing, there's many positive things about human beings, is that we can wake up feeling unhappy, but we could change in an hour. We could have a conversation with someone and it can totally take us from one mood to another. It's the same with exercising. It's why I love it. You can wake up feeling terrible and feeling there's no hope. You can go and do a boxing workout and feel so happy on top of the world. So these disciplines are really, really valuable, not just for people that have got anxiety, but just to live a better life in general. So do things, and don't buy into the belief that you have to wait until your anxiety goes away before you take action. That's not, in my opinion, experience, that's not good in the long run. You are setting yourself up for failure. Maybe failure is not the right word. I'll excuse that word. You're setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment and pain, which is unnecessary. And you kind of you're basically telling yourself that you can't accept yourself for how you are. And of course, our identity isn't and shouldn't be based on our mood or our thought or an emotion or the fact that we've got anxiety or not, even though people do that. And I do that sometimes too. I get tricked into it, but having awareness, you can get out of it quicker. Oh, I'm feeling, lots of clients have it. We all get it. Clients say I'm feeling quite lonely in my life. I don't really have, I go through that too. I don't have anybody to connect with, or I can't connect with most people. We're different, or I just don't feel a sense of connection. But you don't have to make that your identity. We all feel lonely, but lonely is not you as a person. That doesn't sum up your intrinsic worth on this earth. It doesn't. But if you buy into believing anxiety, it will convince you that it does. It will do whatever it can to make you suffer and keep you safe. A good way of stopping someone is to ruin their morale. If you can demotivate someone, and if you can scare them, and if you can make them feel depressed and lonely, then you've got a better chance at stopping them from doing things. And that's what bullies do at school. That's what bullies done to me. When they see you being yourself and doing well in life, or people liking you and being kind, They come in and insult you and say you're dumb, you're stupid, or if you say that again, I'm gonna beat you up. I got a lot of that growing up. If you say that again, Jonathan, I'm gonna beat you up. And then at the time, I'd get scared and stop talking because I bought in to the bullying and the lies and the threats, and I thought, oh yeah, that, I don't want to get harmed or hurt and shamed. But as I got older, I realised no. I stood up for myself and said, if you can try it, but I'm not going to stop speaking. You're not going to control me. I'm not going to let you bully me. And eventually they back down. Bullies get scared and they stop. So anxiety's the same. It's the same in how it operates, but it's a mental bully, psychological. So the bullying has to come to an end if you want to recover from this. So when your mind bullies you and says that you're not allowed to do that, you can't live your life until you're perfect, or until you feed into your anxiety. You say, no, I'm going to disregard that and disagree. I'm going to go and live my life and ignore you. You're not telling me what to do. And that's where obviously getting more strength comes in. Especially for people that are older, learning to parent ourselves, parent that part of us, and not buy into the fears and anxieties. And of course, if there's days where you don't want to go gym because you want to rest, then you don't go. But that's different. That's a different relationship from that sort of compulsive, bullying, punishing voice of anxiety, which is dictating and telling you what you should and shouldn't do in order to make you suffer and keep you safe. So most of this is based around safety. Our brain is designed, as I said, to keep us alive. So look, I could say, the chances of me dying today in the gym are pretty unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's quite unlikely. So I'm not gonna not go to the gym because I get a thought that says, if you go to the gym, you might die in the gym. So you might die. If I believe that, then I'm really going down a negative path, because then it's the next thing will come up. Anxiety could say you can't leave your house. You can't be around anybody. You can't trust anyone. No one's fair. All sorts of lies. And you go, actually, okay, that's true. I'm not going to come out of my house because there's no good people. I can't trust anyone. People, and I get it. I've been through these things too, but it's not true. But if you believe that and you act on that, then you get worse. You don't go out. You don't go to the gym. You don't socialize. You don't engage in life, and then you stay stuck, feeding the intrusion, the thoughts, the anxieties, and it just gets stronger and stronger. So anxiety gets weaker by not feeding it. And not feeding it is not giving into it, not giving it what it wants, and not allowing it to dictate your life and stop you. I had it for years. I had a fear of traveling. I was petrified of traveling, getting on a plane. I thought something bad would happen to me. A lot of uncertainty. A lot of fears around making mistakes and being trapped, like not being able to get on the plane, or I've said this before, losing my passport, or some sort of problem, things I watched on movies, something bad happening, the plane crashing, or, all around those things, or me missing the plane or getting on the wrong seat. All these fears my anxiety was doing to me, and I believed it for many years. I didn't travel, and I could have traveled. I had the money to do it. I was really fortunate that I've got clients all around the world, some friends that invited me over to their place to stay, family, even when I was in a relationship at the time, a girlfriend wanted to travel, I couldn't do it, backed out because of my anxiety. So I was suffering, I was listening and believing it, until I got to a point where I said, no, I can't do this anymore, and I faced it, and it went really well. I didn't die, and things worked out, and I traveled 4 times and got that confidence. So this stuff is what it requires to recover, gain confidence, and to live any sort of quality life. But of course, as I've said, I'm going into a lot of detail, one day at a time. So whatever you're going through right now, I'm not saying that you've got to face every anxiety. That would be a bit extreme. If you could do that, great. But most people will not be able to do that right now. When I say right now, I don't mean forever. So you do one step at a time. And that might just be getting out of bed on time. That might be cleaning your apartment or going for a walk. Something to build on. Something would be great. It would be progress. It could be It could be working on improving your communication a bit more, being more loving, more open, less judgmental. The little things that make a difference, the little areas where we feel scared to do things. My client James has been doing amazing with this. He's been tackling big anxieties and being aware and practicing little anxieties that come up for him, and where he's behaving in a different way and getting more confidence. So little things like sometimes, like little things that we have that we all get. Sometimes you eat food and there might be food lying around, and you have a coffee, and after it's like you want to put it in the bin. It's a little thing. I get this sometimes. I'm sure a lot of people relate, but your mind will say, no, don't put it in the bin right now, because it's going to trigger me. And it's going to make me anxious. It's going to make me start to worry about my life. It's going to make me think about finances, and it's going to go really deep. And it's like, well, actually, let's ignore that. Let's just, what I'm going to do now, let's pick up let's pick up the banana skin and the tea, and let's go and put it in the bin, and just, just do something so simple. So, there's a little example of taking action, a small example, which is a big deal, because these anxiety patterns, they go all around your life in all different areas. And they're all different extremes. And when you start to become aware of them, you start to change your habits and behaviors. So maybe for 20 years, we've all got patterns where you may leave things. You may not tidy certain things because of your anxiety triggers. And when you become aware, you say, I'm going to break that pattern. Where I used to always walk past a certain part of my house where I didn't clean, I'm going to clean it. And that's how you start to change your belief system. And that spreads into every area of your life. That's why I said before, daily discipline, clean your apartment. I broke it up into I basically gave people a blueprint, kind of like an everyday regimen of things to do that are going to get you in a better place, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and they build confidence in all areas of life. And I kind of started off by saying, when you wake up in the morning, just be thankful for one thing in your life. Express gratitude. Then make the bed. Don't just get up. I'm checking my bed now. I wasn't staying in last night, so yeah, it's pretty much made. Could be better. So make the bed when you wake up. And the reason why that's because that's an anxiety exercise to get over it. And then when you make the bed, wake up and clean your apartment. Wash the dishes, take the trash out, fold things, put things back in the cupboard. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just do it correctly. So it's like you wake up, you make your bed, you clean your apartment. You're already off to a good start. So that is the practice to begin with, the simple fundamentals of being able to act and move forward regardless of how you feel, or regardless of what thoughts are going on in your head, or what intrusive thoughts, which are automatic, which are disturbing thoughts that are part of an anxiety disorder or OCD. So now you can build on that. Now you've made the bed, clean the apartment. The next step is to challenge yourself and go, let's leave. Let's go out. Let's leave the house. Let's get some fresh air. Let's go to the gym. You go to the gym, you work out, you've gotten stronger. Right. That's already a good routine. And then you can say, right, I've cleaned my apartment. I've gone to the gym. I've worked out. I've done that. Now I'm going to go spend time with a friend. I'm going to go out and socialize. Then you do that. You socialize. And that's living. That's kind of the solution to all this as well. Committing to living your life, because people that have got a bad anxiety are frightened of committing to living their life, without protecting themselves all the time, without having so many of these unhealthy rules and conditions that are destructive. They're not good for you. They're not good values and good rules, because they're not yours. They're all fearful and anxious, and they're all protective, and they may serve a bit of a purpose maybe when we're younger, but not as we get older forever. They're very destructive, these habits and patterns of thinking and our behavioral response. And that's how you build confidence, Confidence is built from initially not believing in yourself, having doubt, being scared, doing something that you're scared to do, and then coming out of it, surviving it, and going, I actually did better than I thought. It wasn't as bad as I thought, and I'm feeling a little bit better. And then you do it again, and then you do it again and again, and over time you get so confident at doing it, you believe in yourself now. So you no longer believe in the lies of anxiety. So a lot of anxiety is not believing it, not believing what it tells you, what makes you feel, and building a separate, like one of you said earlier, belief system, which is based on facts and reality, not based on lies and fiction and catastrophizing and natural human worry and the normal human thoughts that we have and we all deal with. I know that some people don't admit it, but I've done research and the research is out there, and I've been mentoring for 12 years, so I know it. We all get disturbing thoughts that we don't like, intrusive thoughts that are not us, that come into our head. It's not believing them, it's not arguing with them, it's just accepting them, not believing them, obviously not acting on them, and moving forward and being positive. Any questions, by the way? Please get some more questions in. I've been talking a lot. I hope a lot of you are enjoying it. I mean, if I'm being honest today, from my point of view, this purpose of the talk is not really for entertainment or enjoyment, although I want people to enjoy it, be great, but it's more to help you. It's more to help people to move forward and to cope better with anxiety and to, build more confidence. So, yeah, get some questions in if you want. And you'll see online, in different areas, the parallels are the same. When they show success or recovering from anxiety or change, all the areas of changing your life in a positive way, it's not a straight line. So it is up and down. Same for me. I had a really good day yesterday. Today, I don't know how the day's going to go today. I accept it. Didn't feel as great this morning. Feeling a little bit better now. So it's up and down until you obviously you accomplish your goal. And I'm sure for a lot of you, it's to get over your anxiety, get to a better place, which is my goal, to help more of you to do it. And also to achieve specific goals in your life. I'm sure some of those goals are they're probably going to revolve around finances and career, fitness and health, relationships, and some of your own personal goals or activities or things that you want to accomplish or things that you want to help other people with or share. It's going to be somewhere around that. And you can do that if you practice these things daily and set goals. So you said that when you approach women or people and you get rejected, you feel pain in your chest. Does this go away eventually? How do I stop caring? Well, number one, that is normal. That is normal that you feel that. That is anxiety and trauma, and that can come in all different situations in life, especially when you're talking to people. So that is normal. That is normal. People have it. You can overcome it. Again, I can't say for sure what's going to work for you. Therapy can help. So things like talking to someone about the pain in your chest and the origin of the pain, and then working through that through therapy. I'd say therapy is probably the best for that. Talking therapy, CBT. And I would also say the mentorship that I do, with helping you to build confidence, by working on your life. In regards to stop caring, yeah, if you've been following the stream, I don't know how long you've been on this, that can get easier over time. I think everyone's always going to care a little bit. I think you wouldn't be human, but you can definitely care less about what people think if you continue to increase your confidence. So I'd say, you need a daily routine, you need to get support, and you need to probably work through the trauma that's coming up, which is coming from rejection or perceived rejection when you talk to women or you talk to people in general. But that's very normal, and it's something that is good that you're starting to work on it by asking about it and working through it. So yeah, it will get better. I had a lot of that as well when I was growing up for many years. I had lots of trauma because of anxiety and the bullying that I underwent, and I was socially anxious. So lots of my anxieties, like yourself, pain would come up on the chest, and it got easier when I started to, communicate, work on my life more, get therapy, build good relationships with people, work on being positive. Basically all these areas that I'm talking about today, if you follow the teachings, it will help you. But if it keeps coming up and it's getting stronger and stronger, then I'd probably recommend you going and getting some therapy. Therapy would help for that. Talking to someone I don't specialize in trauma per se, but someone who specializes more in, trauma could help you with that a lot. But you may not need to do that. You might be able to do it just by following the things that I'm teaching and telling you, like exercising, gym, diet, people. But it may be a case where you may need to do that. That could really help you. But exercise does help for that. It definitely does relieve that. And a lot of it is communication. You're right, Andrew. Good to see you. Or, by the way, if all of you are getting a lot of value from this and you are, do you know what? Sorry. I don't know why it still feels dark and I'll put the lights on. Just a second. I'll get to your question, Andrew. Right. Or if you can't face a run, just get your trainers on and get out of the house, then walk and see what happens. That's excellent. Couldn't agree with you anymore, Andrew. That's great advice. It's really true. That's exactly it. That's brilliant. Real good wisdom there. That's great. Any of you got any more questions? We're slowly coming to the end. I usually go to about 90 minutes, so I've got a little bit of battery, so I'm going to try and go to 90 minutes. That's the goal. You're welcome. As I've said as well, if any of you are interested in booking a mentoring session with me, I am available for mentoring. I'm working with 2 long-term clients at the moment, which I've really enjoyed. So that's taken up quite a lot of my time, but I've got some spare time to do some more shorter-term mentorship. So if you wanted to book an hour mentoring session online and I can give you the help and support that you need to help you, then you can send me an email. Tell me about your specific problem, and if I can help you, we'll do a coaching session, a mentoring session. I can help you with that. And if anyone has been thinking about a longer term program, you can apply for that, and I can maybe do a taster session with you and see if I can work with you. We can work together, and then I can make a decision. We both can on something longer term. Just to let all of you know that that's available. And I'm also at the moment, as I said to a lot of you, I'm going through some of my own challenges, which I'm overcoming. I'm working on building my business more so I can help more people, events coming up, things like that. So look out for that. And yeah, I really appreciate the support on the streams. I'm going to get more videos going, more events. So yeah, it's been great. At the moment as well, I mean, everyone I know is going through a difficult time. It is a challenging time at the moment, and that can make a lot of people feel that they're on their own. It can make you feel a bit better. Obviously, we don't want people to struggle. None of us want to struggle, but we are going through difficult times, even globally. So you're not on your own if you're going through a difficult time, but you can still enjoy your life. You can still find gratitude. You can do it. I mean, I'm doing it every day, and it surprises me. Friends are doing it, and all of you are doing it coming on today. So don't believe that you can't still enjoy life and get the most out of it, because at the end of the day, life is uncertain anyway. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So more of a positive perspective is not making something worse than it is. Even though I know it's not nice when you're going through a difficult time, but you can still get through it knowing that you're not the only one. And sometimes, for me personally, I can't speak for everyone and everything they feel. And my best conversations that I've ever had in my life with human beings I've got to be honest, I've always been, when I've been going through a difficult time, or someone else has, I might be going through a good time and a friend is going through a bad time, or a client. The conversation seems to be better, and I think it's because we're more humble. I think when we're going through a difficult time, we don't have as much to lose, and we're not trying to protect ourselves, and that's good in a way. And we're kinder to other people. We care about people more because it puts things into perspective. When you're going through a very tough time in life, and you start to have to answer questions, which can be difficult, but they can also be really beneficial because they make you appreciate the things in life that are really important, and not get fixated and obsessive over things that are not really important in life, that we all do, me too, which is okay until it's not okay. We appreciate things more, and it's usually down to how much we appreciate, how much we love our family and friends, how much we appreciate others, simple things in life. I can't wait to have a coffee after. I really appreciate that, and I've really appreciated the time today. So you don't have to be the happiest person, anxiety free, to appreciate things in life. My clients at the moment, I'm honest with my clients. I tell them, when I first started the programs with my clients, I was in a great place. My life was going well, right? My mental health was good. I was in a relationship. I thought that was going to go to a marriage. My friend was still here, and I was just in a fantastic place, right? That's life. But obviously, as the months gone on, I didn't know that you don't have control over these things. I didn't know that I was going to go through challenges and get in a difficult place again. But my clients really appreciate my honesty, and the sessions go even better because I'm transparent and honest with my clients and helping them to move forward. And people can relate to me more, or they can relate. I can relate to David Goggins and love him and trust him even more because he doesn't lie about his struggles. And he talks about his successes, and that makes me like him even more. He motivates me even more, because a lot of you, which is fine, you might do that of me and say, well, if Jonathan can still be going when he's struggling, then that means I can do it. That makes me emotional, which means you can do it. And I do the same sometimes. And I say, well, if David Goggins can still go out when he's made millions of pounds. He's married to a lovely woman. He's inspired millions of people. He's wrote books. He's come from the depths of hell, in his own words. He's come through so much, but he still has bad days. But he's still not giving up. It makes me go, right, I ain't giving up. I can't give up. I can't give up on helping more people either, and myself. That's the great thing about people, what we can do for one another. When you just have a bit of respect for people and not judging people, not putting them on a pedestal, but appreciating one another, and that's kind of my newer message, if you want to call it that, or evolved message. I'm trying to make a joke, but it's hard to make a joke when you're in pain. But I did hear and it did make me laugh. I did hear Eckhart Tolle say something, and it was great. And he said, listen, he was talking about the same kind of thing. And he said, let's say, he said, it's unlikely, but it can happen. He said, he just was saying that you got someone that they got loads of money. So money's great. He goes, brilliant. No financial problems. They got a lot of money, great. Then he said, they're physically really good looking, brilliant. So they're aesthetically really good looking, in great shape. They've got the most amazing relationship. They got the most loving couple, and they've got a great family, lovely children. They've got an amazing apartment. They've got great friends. Everything's going well. He said everything's going. He said, guess what though? It's impossible with the human mind, because at some point something's going to come up. A fear is going to come up. Worry is going to come up. Something's going to happen in their life's going to go wrong. And he said, that's fine, that's life. So no one has it perfect, even when you see people and you think, and he said, and it may even be a case where for a while they don't have any problems. And I've been through this. I've been through a similar thing where everything was going well. But at some point something went wrong. And if there's not a problem, our own mind will create one that's not even real. And what I'm trying to get from that, if I can explain the perspective that he shared and what I'm trying to share, and what David Goggins shares, and many people, they don't have to be people that are famous. It's understanding a bit more about challenges in life, difficult times, that we all go through it. All of us do. And Eckhart Tolle said the same thing I've said. It doesn't matter how positive you are, you're going to get challenges in life. It doesn't matter how much affirmation. It's cool. It's how life works. But the only thing that we can do is learn how to handle it better. And that's a lot of what we can do. But a lot of it is accepting that we can't control a lot of it. And that's where we're causing a lot of pain for ourselves, because we're trying to control our whole reality. We can't do that to a large degree. And some people think you can, but they're wrong. I disagree. It's not true. You can't control everything in reality. We don't have the power to do that. So it's accepting what you can't control and controlling what you can. But yeah, basically the moral of the story is human beings are never happy. When they get everything and they're happy, they're still not happy. They still want more. They're still going to complain about something. Everyone does that, including me. But I'm much better at doing it less. So try and be grateful, whether you're happy or you're unhappy, whether you've got a lot or whether you've got very little. And there's something to be, well, there's a lot to be said on that. And I could speak about this all day, and I'm not going to try and do that. You know, anyone who's in business, and we're having fun with this, anyone who's a coach and a teacher knows that they've worked with so many clients. It's not personal, because I've been a client too. Any client, you work with a client, you give them everything that you promised that you give them, and they're super happy, and they go, I'm so grateful, you know, you've changed my life, Jonathan or Andrew, you know, and you've got them great results. You've literally changed their life, right? But at some point, they'll complain about something. Usually they will. Some people won't, but most will. Oh, you didn't give me this. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, that's the human mind. So being aware of these things and not buying into them. There is hope in the end, and a big part of the hope is learning, having awareness, and then choosing where you go from there. You know, choosing how you behave. And these are things that are daily lessons that you see, that you can learn. You just learn them through your daily life, through other people. I like to learn, as you can see, because like all of you, I've always wanted to live a better life and to help other people and to have less fear and anxiety and suffering and living more peace, be a better person. I wanted that since I was a kid. Nothing's changed now. I know all of you are the same. Pretty much most of us are the same, if not all. And I was always fascinated with, how come some people seem like they're perfect and happy and other people are really struggling? And I understand more about life, that no one's life's perfect, and some people are more happier, yeah, but it comes down to, it's not really based on what you got. It's based on good question. It's based on who you are as a person and how you're choosing to live from day to day, and how you manage your mind, your thoughts, and you know how you can see things. Perspective. You know, perspective. Some people's perspective of me is that I'm not struggling. And I can see that. I've said to people, you know, it's just a funny joke, but true. I've got a good friend of mine. He says to me, when he looks at me, he says, I see a man with no problems. He goes, you know, you don't have any problems. You're very confident. You've got a lot go. And I really appreciate that. And I say, maybe you're right. But I say, but that's not the truth for me. I've got quite a lot of problems and issues and anxieties. And I have my strengths as well. But it's all perspective. My perspective could be wrong. His perspective could be wrong. So it's really choosing a perspective that is a healthy perspective, I think, that benefits you and other people. So perspective is really important in this. And you know, you can have I've had times in my life where things are going really well, but I got no one to share it with. I feel lonely because I'm happy, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I'm happy. Everyone around me they're not happy. They're sad. It makes me feel down. It makes me feel guilty. So understanding a bit more about the fact that we all go through struggles, and we're all struggling one way or another, but trying to get the most out of our life through our struggles, trials and tribulations. And for me, it's an ongoing quest to learn more, figure this out, because I don't have all the answers for it. I don't think any of us have, but what I do have is a lot of the answers that I've got now, and that's good enough for today and now. And that is understanding about fear and anxiety, facing it, building confidence, and enjoying it each every day. And it's funny how even when I open up more and relax more, we always come to the most important things, which is the most important things in life, which is love, gratitude, caring about other people, and really trying to make the best of life, regardless of what we have, what we don't have, what we think. I think that's something to be valued. You know, I've seen people online, I'm not going to mention names, and they're like, they're good, they do a podcast and they go out, they're struggling, their life's falling apart, and they share their story, but I don't receive it in that way. I'm like, they're amazing. I wish I had the courage to be so vulnerable. They don't care about what anybody thinks in a healthy way. They're good people. They're helping me, so many people. But that's not their perspective. And they might think that they're terrible, but I think they're not terrible. They're actually a really good person. They're actually more confident than most confident people who don't talk, who hide all of their insecurities, which I'm not judging, but I'm just making a point. And they're always trying to, put people down, and too much ego. And I'm not really for that. I'm not interested in that way. That's kind of gross to me. So it's perspective, and that can change over time, which gives hope, which is why I've said at the start of this live stream, don't lie about how you're really feeling, but don't be defeated by how you're feeling. Keep moving forward and watch how things are going to get a lot better based on changing your perspective on your life, on your struggles, your anxieties, and practicing daily simple discipline. It's weird how we live in a culture that is so shameful and afraid of struggle, but we struggle from birth. When our mothers give birth to us, the pain our mothers go through, and then we come out the other side, and then we have joy and love, and we've got the gift of life, and then life goes on and we struggle again. It's a theme, and I'm realizing that struggling, although we don't like it, and I don't want to wish struggle, but I guess it's a beautiful thing. It's part of life, but we've been taught that it's bad. We have to unlearn that. So every time we feel any sort of struggle, we start to say, oh, I'm bad, I shouldn't be struggling. But you shouldn't be saying that. We should just be mutual about it and say, this is part of life. And then it wouldn't be a problem. And that goes back to anxiety, which is part of the human condition. And we don't like the feeling of it. I don't like the feeling of it at times neither. But it is part of being human, and it's learning to accept that and live with that. And then it wouldn't be a problem until we made it a problem. We were taught that it's a problem, and I was taught when I was young, and it was wrong. The teaching was it was quite ignorant. Now, I was taught that you got to be perfect. It's not even plausible. You wouldn't treat someone else like that. So it's really re-educating yourself on a lot of the ways that we relate to fear and anxiety, and the way that we relate to others, and what they think about us. And this is all changing and growing for the better, and not staying stuck in this cycle of these negative beliefs and habits and behaviors, etc. It's weird. We're all complicated humans. No, I love the Rocky movies. I don't love the Rocky movies because it's just the perfect person, everything goes well. I love it because he was struggling. I can relate to everything, but he didn't give up. And the story for me, is a love story. I know it's a boxing movie, and I love boxing, but it's really a love story. It's the story about the power of love beating fear and faith. All those subtextual or real meanings are in that film. When he meets Adrian, they're both struggling with low self-esteem. They both don't believe in themselves, but the love that they have for one another gets him over the struggle. All the struggles in that movie, the financial struggles that Rocky has, he's broke, becomes a millionaire. He's emotionally broken down. He thinks he's worthless. He thinks he's an absolute loser. But he's not a loser. But he thinks he is. He believes it until he gets a mentor who believes in him. And later on, he believes in himself and he wins the championship. All the stories, all the beautiful characters in it, Apollo Creed and Rocky, Adrian, Mickey. But yet, when it's our life, it's like, oh, you know, until we change and grow, we're so ashamed and embarrassed that we're struggling because we worry about other people, what they're going to think. They're not going to like us and love us. And it's silly, really. It's silly, really, because we're all the same in that way, all human. And they've got the same fears. They worry about, you know, what you think about them. Obviously, until people change more and they get more confident and more loving, more acceptant, stronger, less so self-obsessed, which we can all get, me included, because of our anxieties, is always thinking about how we're feeling. It's all part of growing. So the struggle is about not giving up. That's, you know, the kind of historical message and throughout. Just look at your own life in whatever you're doing, whether it's weight loss, training, anxiety, mental health. If you never give up, then you don't. If you never give up, then you succeed in the end. You get there. You get to where you want to get to. Right, we have come to the end. I even done a few extra minutes, which is great. I plan to do 90 minutes today. We'll end it on that, and I hope this helped a lot of people. I'm going to continue. I went deep today and also covered some light things, and just start really small, guys and girls. Practice really simple things, just one little thing at a time daily, and you're going to start to get into a better place. And if you can't get into a good place right now, then you don't have to. But you can still enjoy connection, gratitude, and you can still get something really meaningful out of your day. Are there any last final questions any of you want to say before I end this stream? Again, appreciate you coming on. Please subscribe, share. I want to build this community, help more people. And as always, if you want to book a mentoring call, my email address is below. I'll get back to you and see if I can work with you and help you, all right? All right, man. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, and I'll speak to all of you soon, all right? Appreciate the support. Good luck.